Y'all put it on, right?
You know what comes to mind when I see this piece of video? Relatability, of course.
Are you a billionaire?
No.
You live in New York?
No.
Do you have a private jet?
Nope. I live right here in Johnstown.
So in what ways do you think you're similar to Donald Trump?
I don't know.
Do you like Diet Coke?
No.
I'm really trying here.
It's almost as if Maga knows, but still goes along with it anyway. Shout out to the good liars for keeping them in check.
Donald Trump Jr. retweeted a Harris critic that questioned her identity. Well, Trump Jr. then deleted the retweet, but not before it was seen by his millions of followers. Harris's campaign has compared the comment to that birtherism conspiracy from President Trump against President Obama.
I want him to show his birth certificate. He has pulled one of the great cons in the history of politics.
This is why who we put in positions of leadership matters.
I'm not going to spend my time trying to educate people about who black people are. I was born black, I will die black. And I'm proud of being black. And I'm not going to make any excuses for anybody because they don't understand.
Because when the truth should prevail.
Who do you think Kamala Harris is working for right now?
I think she's, working for the deep state, but she may be working for somebody more powerful than that, Satan himself. The demon god, Kamala.
You think Kamala Harris is working for Satan?
She could be.
The party of neo-Nazis, bigotry, and conspiracy theories latch on to hate and an agenda that cannot be rooted in fact.
We're here outside the RNC, and a lot of people made a big deal about toning down the rhetoric. We're going to see some of the gear they're selling here.
Probably going to be some pretty level-headed stuff. I'll read that for you. It says, "Not my president," and then it says, "Biden," and the is made of guns.
Oh.
Remember this fallacy of the RNC pecking unity and the rhetoric being taken down a notch?
What they've said is that a small migrant community, 20,000, so it's big for the city of Springfield, but it's small compared to all Haitians in the United States of America, that small migrant community has caused a lot of problems. It's led to higher rates of communicable diseases. That's a verifiable fact. It's led to animals disappearing. Many of my constituents have said that has been happening. It's led to higher home prices. That is a verifiable fact. So this influx has led to a lot of
But you said that immigrants have eaten animals, and city officials have said that that's not true.
City officials have said that's not true.
What a crock that was, right? Look no further than J.D. Vance, a man who likened Trump to the Big H, running with conspiracy theories to push a 2024 version of Great Replacement.
This whole furry thing.
The first sign of the rumor in the U.S. appears to have been this Michigan school board meeting last December.
I heard that at least one of our schools in our town has in one of the unisex bathrooms, a litter box for the kids that identify as cats.
Where it was discussed by a parent without proof, then shared on Facebook by a chairwoman of the Michigan Republican Party, referring to furries, a small group of people who are interested in and may dress up as animals with human-like features. The false story snaking its way across the country.
They think they're a cat. A cat. They put tails on and they demand that they have a litter box in the school.
As always, they are lying for votes.
Not many people know that we have furries in Colorado schools. Have you heard about this, Jimmy? Mm-hmm. Yeah, kids identifying as cats. It sounds absolutely ridiculous, but it's happening all over Colorado, and schools are tolerating it. It's insane. What on earth are we doing? Knock it off. Schools, put your foot down. Like, stop it. Let's get back to teaching basics and not allow this woke ideological stuff infiltrate our schools. And it is happening here in Colorado. It's why I moved from Boulder Valley to Douglas County, because it was happening in my kids' schools 4 years ago.
I cannot believe I have to say this, but obviously there are absolutely no litter boxes for students in schools. This specific story caught fire after notorious podcaster Joe Rogan repeated similar false claims on his wildly popular show. But after some backlash, Rogan says he did some more digging and he came to this conclusion.
it doesn't seem that there's any proof that they put a litter box in there.
No proof. He pushed the lie.
He did. And it still, to this day, carries weight with Republican voters.
Kids are coming in dressed up as cats with collars and leashes on and ears, and supposed to have litter boxes in the restrooms.
That's incredible. And you've seen this?
I have not personally seen it, but I know people that are involved with the schools.
So you haven't personally seen it?
I haven't personally seen it, no.
Okay. Because that's...
yeah, I know. But if you talk to the students, they even say that it's been going on. And
have you talked to the students and they said they saw it?
Some friends of ours, their kids, yeah.
They saw students dressed as cats.
Yes.
And that they said that there had to be litter boxes in the high schools?
In the bathrooms, they have to have litter boxes.
Unbelievable. It's almost, I can't even believe it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe.
Additionally, never forget the events that took place on January 6th and how the Republicans continue anointing the man who pushed the big lie, riling up a crowd of his loyalists, which led to violence at the Capitol. And the reason you should never forget is because they have a far different version.
Speaking of Biden, it's on everyone's mind. What do you think about that speech he gave?
It's the Hitler speech. It's ridiculous.
It's evil. It's evil.
A super divisive speech then, I guess?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Very. For no reason, just out of the blue.
One of the most divisive in American presidential history?
In my lifetime, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you worried that a speech like that could result in violence in any way?
Absolutely. But not from our side.
Right. Yeah.
What do you say to people who would say that Trump's January 6th speech was divisive? People marched over to the Capitol. There was a riot.
I just laugh. I just laugh because it wasn't divisive.
And so you didn't feel that anything that happened on January 6th was violent?
No.
Insane. It feels like we're being gaslit here. We really are living in different realities. Please, if you can and are willing, check out The Good Liars live shows and stay up to date with their tour. They do fantastic work on the ground. It is time now for you to support their efforts. Check out their website to see when they are in a city near you. Head over to their YouTube channel for more fantastic content. Their reels on Instagram, more short form on TikTok, of course, as well. In addition, if you can make a donation to their Patreon, please do. They are fantastic at what they do. No surprise.
Charlie Kirk does an incredible job with Turning Point. Yes. Great human being. Great American.
Former NASCAR and IndyCar driver Danica Patrick has made an announcement.
I'm not going to lie. Red is my favorite color. I don't wear it because I'm Republican. I wear it because it is my favorite color. It just works well. So the photos definitely had a color theme. And I posted these photos and I said, I love America. Let's make America great again.
It shouldn't come as a shock. It actually tracks.
In the 60s, there was this idea, and it was probably the consequence of the birth control pill, that, well, maybe sex is free, right? It's free and easy. Because, well, now pregnancy wasn't necessarily a consequence, and venereal disease was reasonably well under control, and so wasn't a blatant threat, certainly not a fatal one. And so people thought, well, why not free love? Well, I think the reason for that is it's complete rubbish. There's no free sex. It's too dangerous. And so what's happened is that...
From an emotional standpoint? Are you speaking about from an emotional standpoint or physically?
Physically and socially. Well, think of consent. Okay, when can you give consent? Well,
you're saying
the
what
answer is we don't know. No,
or
under
like
what conditions? Well, what constitutes consent? Exactly.
Because if one were to just look at her guest list.
Yeah.
Like, I don't spend my time thinking about people's private lives. I just don't. Like, it doesn't really concern me.
Yeah.
But it's not live and let live. It's now live and let us rule. Where, like, I have to use your pronouns.
Yeah.
And like my daughter one day has to go to a school and have some freak dance in front of her.
Right, exactly.
Like that's not live and let live anymore.
Yeah.
That's like a violation of the social compact that we had. Like the whole idea of like the modern movement around, you know, what they would say is gay rights is like, just give us these rights and everything's gonna be fine. And it's like, turns out, well, it's like a lot deeper and bigger than that. And it didn't stop there. It's now has like continued into this mass campaign to go after children and to normalize behavior, go after pronouns, criminalize speech, where you can get in more trouble in this country for vandalizing a pride flag than the American flag. It's considered a hate speech or a hate symbol.
Oh my God.
So I'm happy to go as deep into that as you want.
Yeah, as deep in any of this. I think
Sorry,
it's all fascinating. No, it's good.
I talk for a living. So,
I love it. No, it's fantastic. As you talk, I think about 7 different things that I want to ask you about.
And how she not only gravitates towards these people.
It is my true honor to sit here with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Thank you so much. Should I call you Bobby?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome, Bobby. You know, when I pay attention to the words spoken in politics, when I listen to him, I just manage to keep on listening. And that when you speak, it really feels like you're speaking from the heart, from experience, from seeing it, from living it, and really believing it. And I just think that that's something rare in politics. And I don't know if you all feel the same, but I believe that deserves a hand.
But flat out endorses them.
Mostly from what I've channeled and remote viewed, it is a group of individuals who are fighting to contain the information, fighting to contain the awakening, fighting to suppress the people, fighting to create more fear because they just want control. They don't care about money. Money is something that they've created, right, to control us. And our population is at a certain point where we're uncontrollable. The majority of this group of individuals is reptilian. But I do want to say that not all reptilians are bad, right? We do have good reptilians, just like we have good and bad humans. And they believe that, you know, this planet is rightfully theirs because they're the ones who were here long before humans were. It's prophesized that human beings, right, this hybrid species that we are meant to be here. And the reptilians are free to be here as well, as long as they're okay with the shifting of the energies. And they're not okay with that. There's going to be an increasing number of like strange events happening because all that has been hidden will be revealed. Like,
and there'll
this
be
is
some
the
very
great
famous
reveal.
people that will be
Shape-shifting, or they all of a sudden just choose to step out of the limelight altogether, or they have a sudden accident or passing or whatnot.
Like Elizabeth April, who you just heard from.
How does that come to someone to sell their soul? Like, I feel like this is something you see a lot more in entertainment and music, and you look at these possible satanic rituals, which they sure look pretty satanic, that are happening during Super Bowl or music awards shows, and you see what's going on. It's like there's definitely an awareness to this dynamic.
I believe in the next 3 years, hopefully sooner, 3 to 4 years, we're going to see the whole world is going to understand how deeply everything about our reality is actually programmed, literally programmed at the highest level. And, you know, all you have to do is look at who is on the guest list of, you know, on the flight list to Epstein Island, and you just start to realize like there is nothing sacred.
Interesting part there. Guess Danica didn't get the memo.
Knowing how I like things as a viewer is to not like question, answer. It's like robotic. It's not interesting to me.
There's always a question within your answer. Yeah. And that's the hard thing. That's the thing that makes a great conversation, is when you sort of surrender the question list and you just listen and you go, oh, I don't understand that. Tell me more. Yeah. You know, I think the person that I feel like is one of the best at it is Tucker Carlson.
Oh, so
like, good. He's just the best at it.
No shocker there and here.
It's not, there's so many members of Congress who are Democrats who love our country. When I was running for president, I had some of my Democrat colleagues at the time would come up to me on the house floor and say, like, whisper in my ear in the corner of the room where there were no cameras and no one could see, saying like, oh my gosh, I love everything you're saying. Please keep it up, but don't tell anyone I said that. There's so much fear of those who challenge what has become the agenda of the Democratic Party, which is like this radical, woke, I don't know. It's hard to sum it up in just a few words.
She would title one podcast, I kid you not, The Lie of Climate Change. You get the point.
You dating Aaron Rodgers at one point in your life really makes all the sense in the world. By the way, she's free to believe all of this insanity. I am certain that if you threw a rock, you'd hit somebody in an F1 paddock or any other professional environment who would just be nodding along with this.
Yeah. Well, if I threw a rock off my balcony, I would hit someone who, I live in Florida, Spencer. I mean, she's not alone.
Yeah, somebody who would go, the lizard people. Yeah, right. I heard about them on Facebook. So when you see Danica having her thoughts on F1, just notice if you go, that take seems a little out there, you'd be like, I have an entire cornucopia of interesting takes for you. It's called her YouTube channel.
Oh, and by the way, at that campaign event where Danica made those opening statements, she would go on to say, I think our country should be run by someone that knows business and has integrity. Oh, okay. I believe we should be able to speak freely, of course. I love this country and I have lived in other places. I believe when people of different opinions speak face to face, we realize we are more similar than different. All of those are spot on except for the opening line. A man with integrity. I have never come across someone who has less. But look, the reason we play those is just very simple. It's because they are the party of conspiracy theorists. They are the party of believing the untrue. And that is the tent that they have decided to have. And it's fine. It's totally fine. But to say those things and have that be the opening line is a farce.
Hey everybody, we're here in Tuscaloosa to cheer on the dogs and see President Trump. Go dogs, let's go Trump.
You know her? You almost certainly despise her, the one and only Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Joe Biden's 5 million illegal aliens are on the verge of replacing you, replacing your jobs, and replacing your kids in school. And coming from all over the world, they're also replacing your culture. These are terrorists. These are criminals. They're people that pour out of jails and mental hospitals in foreign countries. They're people here coming to compete with Americans for jobs. They are people bringing in diseases, all kinds of diseases. Imagine being a mother and you can't let your children go play outside in the yard because there are people that you don't know who they are invading your country, coming across your property, and imagine what they could do to your kids. Imagine being a woman and you're just trying to get your groceries out of your car to carry them in the house, and you are faced with men who don't even belong in your carport, and that's where they are because they invaded our country. President Trump will do that, and he will start mass deportations on day one, and I can't wait to see it happen. Looking forward to the next administration where we're going to have the largest deportation system that's ever been witnessed in human history.
That's really not something to brag about considering your competition, but this is who she is and the type of people she represents.
We are honored, we are humbled and excited to welcome to the stage right now for our first speech, and we love to get to know her much better. I think this is going to be the beginning of something great. The representative from Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
We need to be the party of nationalism, and I'm a Christian and I say it proudly. We should be Christian nationalists. And when Republicans learn to represent most of the people that vote for them, then we will be the party that continues to grow without having to chase down certain identities or chase down, certain segments of people. We just need to represent Americans.
She's not even trying to dog whistle. saying the quiet part out loud for all to hear. She and her MAGA allies are deliberately moving the Republican Party even closer to Christian fascism than it already is, even openly recognizing that the voter base is comprised of like-minded bigots who would gladly forfeit whatever crumbs of democracy we have left in our country so all of us can be subjected to their nationally unpopular, narrow-minded, closed-off belief system.
And I believe that Republicans need to prove to the American people that we are the party of American nationalism and Christian nationalism. I'm a Christian. I have no problem saying I'm a Christian nationalist. And I think that's an identity that we need to embrace. Go, I'm going to try voting Republican because these people over here make sense. They like everybody. They think our Constitution is for everyone. They don't want to turn your kids gay and have, transgender, and they don't want to kill babies in the womb.
Out of all the sewage we've heard her spew so far, her comments about the Republican Party's policies making sense and being for everybody while saying that the Constitution was made for everyone may just take the cake for being the most ahistorical, out of touch, and ironic things she said. The Republican Party only exists in its current form because it is so inherently exclusionary and hostile towards groups that could challenge the existing power structure, which is exactly why they focus their messaging around culture war issues and demonizing certain communities instead of championing policies that improve the material conditions of their voters.
But the reality is, Dan, we need to protect our kids in school the same way that Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and all politicians are protected, the same way we protect gold and precious jewels, the same way we protect a lot of money. And that's good guys with guns. And we always need to make sure we support our Second Amendment and not disarm legal gun owners simply because a madman with a gun chose to go in and murder people. Murder's been around since the beginning of time, and murder will continue.
Case in point, Marge would rather further enrich the corporations that profit off of our gun violence epidemic and death, that advocate for increased funding for public schools, establishing national mental health programs, common sense gun control laws, and other policies that would tackle the root causes of gun violence. But it's infinitely easier to justify the brutality you inflict on the people you're supposed to be working for when you operate on a different set of facts and live in a completely different reality running parallel to the truth. Now recall one of Marge's most infamous controversies, where she posted this absolutely unhinged, conspiracy-laden message on Facebook in 2018, soaked in anti-Semitism, where she claimed that the wildfires devastating California at the time were caused by, quote, what looked like lasers or blue light beams of light coming from space, or perhaps, quote, beaming the sun's energy back to Earth, sparked the fires. She's been dunked on constantly over the years for this, but that clearly hasn't changed her mind about conspiracy theories, especially implicitly anti-Semitic ones. And as she just recently posted this disgusting cryptic tweet to her millions of followers, as hundreds of thousands of people both in and out of her state are experiencing one of, if not the most traumatic experiences of their lives in the aftermath of the recent hurricane, it takes a special type of depravity to exploit a natural disaster for attention like this, but that's who she is. And her ambiguous wording is no mistake either. Deliberately choosing to use they instead of highlighting a certain group plays directly into the systemic bigotry already present in our country and allows the reader to determine who they think the group responsible is. Knowing what we know, Greene is obviously referring to Jewish people as well as the Dems, which is made abundantly clear in this second equally unhinged tweet, suggesting that the Dems, or to Greene, the shadowy forces controlling the Dems, i.e. Jewish people, purposefully directed the hurricane on the path it took as a way to interfere with the upcoming election and punish Republican voters for not voting blue, we suppose? And if that sounds insane, bigoted, and devoid of any truth, you'd be 100% right. But unfortunately, far too many people will take the exact same opposite approach, and Greene knows that all too well. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports, and or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.